This is the hardest and most helpful skill to master in all of FPS games. I was so committed to improving in this video that I almost permanently injured myself. And I'm about to get slapped around by guys probably in their 30s to learn the ancient art of LG Duels. Video is me going through my process of improvement, and it can be applied to anything. I have read a book about it, so I am very smart. I am also an old, elderly, frail man at the age of 25 years old, which means it's a lot harder to learn new skills now that my brain has fully developed. I do have some tips that have helped me, you know, pick up new things a lot easier. Oh, reactive tracking. You know, this kind of bullshit? Yeah, I'm fucking ass at it. I main tac shooters for the most part, and you may be wondering why this would even matter to me at all. If you play tracking games, obviously this is going to apply to you, but I think this does actually matter for tac shooters a lot more than you would think. Have you ever found yourself in this situation? I'm not going to talk about this long, but with the rise of players like Donk having just random erratic, unpredictable movement, this is a skill that I think is pretty underlooked. Yeah, I want to have good aim no matter what game I hop onto. If I see something I'm bad at, I need to fix it immediately. I get obsessed over it. So I put myself to the test, okay? I'm testing myself. I spent over 2 weeks of pretty much only grinding LG Duels to see if I could get good at this at all. First, I need to explain what LG Duels even are. So LG Duels are a custom game mode server within Quake Live. Old fucking game. I don't know when it came out, but a long time ago, okay? It's all about having better aim, movement, and out-positioning your opponent. Everybody has lifesteal, so you need to be hitting your opponent more than he's hitting you. Sounds really simple, right? It's not. Sometimes you'll be having a good duel, you'll be very even, and then your opponent outmaneuvers you and gets behind you, and you're pretty much fucked. There's always a chance that you can do it back if you're good enough and still win in the end. This mechanic has such a high skill gap that the top #1 player could absolutely destroy me even if he was blackout drunk. I'm not even joking. What the fuck? If you can go into every fight and set little obtainable goals for each fight and hit those and treat that as a win, you're golden. You just got to get that mentality down. I need to also mention there's not really many resources to improve at this through YouTube. There's a couple guides and videos on strafe aiming in general, which I will link in the description if I remember. If I don't, please remind me. But most of it's actually documents to read. Yeah, gross. My first day. There's something weird with Quake where you have to like restart your OBS or something. I don't know how to explain it, but the recording got fucked up basically. You can imagine how this went. Try my best, okay? I'm about to get my fucking ass blown. Oh Jesus fuck, man. Yeah, on my first week, I picked up a couple things what I was doing wrong just by playing. I think what's amazing about when you first pick up a new skill is you're able to improve really quickly off of like the smallest little tips. So I was getting a lot of brain stimulation from just making small, tiny little improvements and actually seeing myself get better. Since I have a lot of hours on aim training, I'm able to recognize a lot of things I'm doing wrong with my aim. I realized I wasn't moving my mouse smooth enough at all. I was like being very jittery. And that was making it really hard for me to read my opponent's movements because, you know, when you're flicking around, it makes him look like he's moving so much faster. I also realized and part of the reason why this was happening was I was overcorrecting a lot. So I was flicking past my target and then having to flick back. And it was like this whole process of just fucked up nonsense, okay? I somewhat fixed it this day by just going in every single fight, trying to be as smooth as possible. I didn't worry about dying. I didn't worry about trying to win. I was just trying to be smoother and get my accuracy score up a lot higher. One thing that helped me a lot is separating my aim and movement. So for this example, when I hopped on first, I thought aim was my biggest issue. So I full focused on aim just kind of autopiloted with movement. I don't want to say autopilot because that's probably not the best word to use here, but you get what I'm saying. I wasn't really focusing too hard on that. I was trying to focus on this one problem. But if I went through a fight and I realized my mouse wasn't flying all over the place, I was considering that a win in my book. I won. I win the fight. I also realized I needed to face my fucking final boss of aim, okay? Tension. My wrist was burning out way too fast. Like, ridiculously fast, and it's because I was just tensing up and like death gripping my mouse, you know. And I realized I was getting a lot better accuracy when I was just kind of relaxed, just focused on the target in front of me. Speaking of that, I heard this thing, I don't know where from, but I don't know how to explain it, but I'm gonna do my absolute best to do it. And maybe once this happens to you, you will understand. Instead of focusing on my crosshair being on my opponent, I was focusing on my opponent being in the middle of my screen. And when you do this, you kind of get into this like flow state where you take a zoom out perspective of your eyes. And when you know he's in the middle of the screen and then he moves off to the right, you just move your screen with him. So I'm not saying this is going to fix your aim problems or something while tracking, but this can actually help a lot and make the player not feel like they're moving it as quickly. On day 5, I started to duel against one of my friends, Logics. You might know him if you're in the aim training community. He has a lot of top scores on a lot of different scenarios.
What the fuck, bro?
But he's also new to LG. So I knew if my movement was perfect, I had a chance. This was actually nuts practice for movement, because I really had to be random. If Evo sensed that I was doing the same pattern over and over again, I was absolutely fucked. It was just over. It was GG right there. I did end up killing him a couple times. This day I could really feel myself getting better at all my problems and it kind of coming together. I was starting to feel really good about this because I actually felt like I had a sense of progression and I was improving. I could tell my reading for tracking has literally never been as good as it was then. And I was able to actually like just read it. I don't know. It was nuts. Then I hit a slump. I don't know what happened. I had to take a break. These next couple of days, right after I started playing with Evo, I just couldn't even get 40% accuracy. I was losing to players that were newer than me. And I want to say it's really important to take breaks and let your mind kind of reset. That's something that's often overlooked, especially by me. It's better to take a reset as soon as possible than just sit in the slump and try to play through it. I don't think that is ever good. And I really had to realize, because as someone who loves picking up new things and just improving at them, I needed to realize that my mood and my life, it does not need to revolve around whatever new thing I'm doing and if I'm actually improving at it or not. So that entire time I had been playing at 30 CM 360, thinking that's like a good sense for reactive tracking, and you know that should apply here, right? No, not at all. Most LG players play at a sensitivity ranging from 8 to 15 centimeters 360. Personally, I haven't been playing LG that long, right? But I feel like that sensitivity range is almost high for the sake of being high, unless someone's just sitting there trying to do 360s around you so you don't have to reset your mouse. Other than that, I don't know. But I'm not that good. But I have never played a sensitivity that high. I'm in the range of like 50 to 30 normally. Like that is like average range. So 8, 13? What the fuck? I was wondering how long it was going to take me to get good at this high sense shit. My wrist got super tired that day. I think I was tensing to overcompensate for my lack of accuracy with that. That's when my problem started. Afterwards, I wanted to stretch my wrist because, they felt really tired. I thought that would be the healthy thing to do. I overstretched them. I was doing things that were too intense for my wrist when they were already tired and fucked up. And after stretching, my wrist literally started shaking. I gave myself 2 days to recover with 0 gaming. And I was going to check back and see kind of where I was with my wrist. If I wasn't going to push it. I didn't want to permanently injure myself at all. While on this break, I could not get away from LG Duels. It was like all I was thinking about was getting better at it, hopping back on the server and improving. So I did the unthinkable. I read the documents. So I'm going to summarize some of my takeaways from the things that I enjoyed the most about the documents and some of the sections that are in it. I'll also link the x76 wiki in the description, which actually has all the documents now, so you don't have to download them. So some of the things I'm going to talk about here seem like very obvious points. They don't seem like they actually help. However, it helps you when you actually think about them and when to apply them. Some of these are actually really important information, not just for LG Duels, but for anything you do, honestly. Right here, watching top players can also be good. Focusing on taking the feel or look of their fights and try to emulate that. This is something that I would accidentally do when I was little playing Counter-Strike. I would watch the CS major, and when I would hop on, I would notice like, hey, I'm kind of playing in the same play style. Keyboard movements and mouse movements and the way I thought was kind of similar to how the pros were doing. So it's important when you're not like super good at something. When you watch someone, try to emulate the feel or the look of what they're doing and focus less on, well, what do they do here when this happens? Realize that the game is not that hard. Your target is not that small, and he's not moving that fast. He's also not hitting that much. He's just not that good. Simplify the game and view it for what it actually is. I think that's very true. Sometimes we can kind of overestimate how good our opponent is, and it stresses us out. I like that information. These documents, like, I'm not even joking, opened my eyes a bit on how LG and strafe aiming and strafing fights during tracking actually works, because I've always thought of it as more of like a reading and reactivity thing. However, not only is it that, but you also need to learn how to use your keyboard to make it easier on yourself when aiming and harder on your opponents. And there's lots of angles, and like based on how both of the players are moving, the perception of speed on both of your screens can be completely different. This is something that I wanted to talk about on here, but I think I'm just going to link a video because this video is going to be very long. So I would highly recommend watching one of the videos linked below, because this kind of changed my brain. It blew my brain up. And this is something to learn for every game, including CS. Keyboard aiming is very important in Counter-Strike and also very overlooked. After my break ended, I tried to play a little bit more. I was able to get like 2 sessions in, but I wasn't going to push it too hard. I was mainly focusing on my keyboard movement and trying to make sure I don't re-injure myself. So I didn't mind if my accuracy was bad, but I did have a serious problem. I could not use high sensitivity at all. I was having full crash out moments in Evo's DMs, not understanding how people actually use sensitivities that high. I can't state enough how crazy the strafe aiming depth really is and how much it can change the way you approach fights in every single game. I really do think it's valuable information for everyone to read. The next day, I went into a Kovaaks scenario to try to get used to high sense. I couldn't just stick to LGs for this because it was just impossible. It looked like everyone was moving at breakneck speed. So I opened up close LS easy, and I put my sensitivity on the high range. So I did 8 cm. But since I'm a middle-aged man, I now need to use extremes in order to get better. If I can improve at 8 cm when I bump my sensitivity down to 13 when I go into LG servers, I will be a lot better. It'll feel slow. This is a tip kind of for everyone. When you're trying to improve at something, make it harder for yourself. Not impossible, but harder. I also set a small obtainable goal for myself in that Kovacs scenario where I wasn't going to let myself go back on LG before I hit a certain accuracy percentage. I think it was like 50% or so. So you need to really make small goals and have a reward or whatever you want that motivates you to actually hit that goal. You will see improvements happen a lot faster. Again, think Kaizen, okay? Small obtainable goals that help you keep going and moving faster. This allowed me to hop back into LG, and I was once again hitting 40% accuracy. I couldn't believe that all it took was 15 minutes of Kovacs. And then my accuracy slipped again. I started to try to practice having very random movement and focusing a little bit on my keyboard aim. Once I started to go back to trying to actually win fights, I just couldn't aim anymore. I don't know what happened. So I tried a couple things actually, and I think I ended up fixing it. I went into fights and turned the lightning beam off, which is a little thing you can do within Quake Live. That way I could just focus on the opponent. I wasn't worrying about if I'm getting hit. There was less visual clutter, just looking at the guy in front of me, keeping him in the fight. Middle of my screen, I mean. If you got the health advantage on me, sure, dude, that's fine. I wasn't going to try to dodge super radically or anything. I just wanted to get my accuracy high and die. That's fine. And I just couldn't fix this problem for a long time. And it's just because I'm not used to high sense. I would fix it and then I would start playing again and it would be fucked. And it was annoying as hell. I had a couple days where I was literally just whipping my mouse around like a dumbass, and I played like all day and could not fix it. I couldn't fix it. I don't know what was happening. I was trying to be smooth. I turned beam off again. I lowered my sensitivity. I couldn't do anything. I think it was just a mental block that I had. So I got off of LG and I went into Deadlock and queued some Street Brawl and started thinking, what if I use my LG sense in Street Brawl and just, you know, it doesn't matter if I win or lose Street Brawl. I just, you know, practice this, maybe get more comfortable with this high sense. Players move a lot slower in Deadlock, so it kind of allowed me to just aim with it, get comfortable. I started to notice like mental problems that started to pop up while I was playing LG. And I'm not saying I probably have some, but that's not what I'm talking about. Once you get some hours in, you'll occasionally find another player that might have fewer hours than you, right? And you'll just absolutely bully them. You'll just shit on them. And you feel kind of bad about it. But other times you'll find someone close to your skill level and it'll be, you know, really long fights. However, sometimes you will get on a server and everyone is really good. And it's, you know, it's for the best that you do not take this out on yourself because you can't control who's in the server. There's no skill-based matchmaking when you just like run up to a guy and jump him and start shooting at him. Some of these guys have hundreds of hours in this and are absolutely insane. It's nothing to be ashamed at. Dying really isn't. And everyone in the servers are just trying to get better. So it really just, who's keeping score? Who cares? Just don't let it phase you. It doesn't matter. My last day. On my last day, not even joking, this was not on purpose. I mean, I guess it kind of was, but I got into a server and I won 8 duels in a row on different people too. This was a big step for me. I was finally feeling myself progressing once again after changing my sensitivity that high. I knew everyone on the server were people around my, you know, time in the game. So it was nice knowing that for a little bit I felt invincible. After my progression in all this, I realized my way to test if my reactivity got better just by playing LG was really flawed. My original idea was to hop into Kovaaks close fast strafes, easy and normal, and see how much my reactive tracking improved. That is completely overlooking the keyboard aiming aspect and strafe patterns that I learned that were so important. So I still went and tested it.
What? That's insane. What the fuck? I'm actually just blown away. Oh my god. What the fuck? I haven't seen accuracy gains like that on that scenario ever. Honestly, ever. That's crazy. That is fucking crazy.
But I think the only way for me to show the keyboard aiming aspect is to show clips in game. Now, I don't want to get too excited about my progress with this or how impactful it is. I don't want to just make false promises. So I'm going to be taking some of my, you know, actual stream footage and kind of breaking down what I think is happening here and where learning LG has actually helped me a lot. And I think it's in more ways than I actually would have thought originally, because originally I was just planning on taking clips where I was like strafe aiming, like strafe dueling someone. But watching back some of my gameplay to try to find an example of that, I found like a lot of clips where this is stuff that I don't normally see myself doing. This is where I'm talking about it's kind of hard because I'm using sliding to anti-mirror or mirror my opponent, which is a little bit weird, but it kind of looks sick as hell. A tank with a healer is not... I didn't even notice I was doing this, but right there you see I was doing an anti-mirror. He was going this way. I was going that way. And then it also helped me get out of the situation quicker. But I've been noticing I've been doing little things like that, you know, if I'm playing in Furnace, for example, will matter a lot because sometimes getting like an extra couple of bullets in, you know, like right there, how I reignited it, that's the difference of like him having to go back or him having to buy healing, right? Whatever example, you know? But sometimes a couple of bullets right here, I just get the kill for free because I reignited. And you know, these guys aren't using like the most insane guns, so I probably don't have to care about being random with my movement. I can just use my movement to be accurate. And just knowing how to do that in the first place and learning it from LG Duels has like made my tracking a lot better in game. Right here, this is an example of me using my movement to completely, at least I think I completely juked this Shiv out. I'm not really sure if he just sucks or what happened, but you can see there, okay, I'm sliding in this general direction. This Shiv, he's made the choice right at this moment that he's going to slice and dice. He's gonna dash forward at me, right? I start curving backwards, walking back. He completely whiffs it. He gets no lifesteal, so I just kill him for free. It's like little things like that. It's all about learning what your enemy is going to expect you to do with your movement and being random when you need to and knowing when to be accurate with your movement. It's helped a lot, and I can just tell immediately from gameplay of any of the tracking characters in Deadlock I've done so much better. But even like Overwatch and shit too. I don't really play Overwatch much anymore, but I played a couple games not too long ago, and I hit some crazy fucking clip that I didn't have OBS on, so I didn't record it, and I'm really pissed because it would have been perfect here. So I think these were the best examples from the footage I had. I really wish I had better footage because there were some probably better examples I had, but I just wasn't recording at the time, so I'm kind of pissed. And on other games too. I think this is really valuable to learn. I'm not gonna lie, for any game, and it's fun, and it's super helpful. So I think everyone should give it a shot. I'm gonna be trying to do like a series of unorthodox ways of improving at FPS games, and you know, kind of showing my journey through it. I meant to take videos while doing it, but I forgot, so it's fine. If you like that idea, want to help me out, I'm trying to use YouTube to help pay for my student loans, and I need 150 subs more. I'm almost at 1,000. Okay, we're at 850. 150 subs more to get AdSense for my YouTube videos. Some of these videos I could have made good money on. They got 20k views. Okay, what the fuck? I'm done begging now.